Welcome. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of phrasal verbs. These are combinations of verbs with particles or prepositions that create new meanings. Understanding the difference between prepositional and particle verb phrases is essential for mastering English fluency. In this video, we'll break down the key concepts, show you how to spot the differences, and give you practical examples. Whether you're a student, a professional, or just someone looking to improve your English, this guide will help you use phrasal verbs with confidence. Let's get started by exploring what makes phrasal verbs unique and why they can be tricky for learners. Let's clarify the difference between prepositional and particle verb phrases. A prepositional verb always forms a prepositional phrase, which means it must have a direct object. For example, in look after the kids, after is a preposition and the kids is the object. On the other hand, particle verbs use particles, words that look like prepositions but act differently. These can often stand alone without a direct object, changing the meaning of the verb itself. Understanding this distinction is the first step to mastering phrasal verbs. Next, we'll see how this plays out with intransitive verbs. Intransitive phrasal verbs don't need a direct object. This is a key clue that you're dealing with a particle verb, not a prepositional one. For example, in the sentence, "Please don't give up," there's no object following the verb. The action is complete without anything else. Other examples include, "I just wasn't brought up that way," and "I hope my idea came across well." Notice how none of these require a direct object. This makes them intransitive and confirms they are particle phrasal verbs. Next, let's look at transitive phrasal verbs and how to tell them apart. Transitive phrasal verbs always take a direct object. This can make it harder to tell if you're dealing with a particle or prepositional verb. For example, in "She looked up the word." The word is the object. But is up a particle or a preposition? Here's a quick test. Try moving the object between the verb and the particle. If it still makes sense, "She looked the word up," then it's a particle verb. If not, it's a prepositional verb. This trick helps you decide how to use these verbs correctly in sentences. Let's talk about separable and inseparable phrasal verbs. Separable verbs allow you to place the object between the verb and the particle, like "turn the lights off." Inseparable verbs require the object to come after the particle or preposition, such as "look after the kids." This distinction is crucial for forming correct sentences and sounding natural in English. Remember, if you can split the verb and particle with the object, it's separable. If not, it's inseparable. Practice will help you get comfortable with these patterns. Now let's put your knowledge to the test with some intransitive phrasal verb exercises. Try to complete these sentences. "The car on the way to work." The answer is "broke down." Next, "All songs in that film are with youngsters." The answer is "catching on." These exercises help reinforce the idea that intransitive phrasal verbs don't need a direct object. Practice makes perfect, so keep challenging yourself with more examples. Let's continue practicing with a few more sentences. "I don't want to hear ever again." The correct answer is "come back." "The thieves must have through the back door." That's "come in." These examples show how intransitive phrasal verbs work in everyday English. The more you practice, the easier it becomes to recognize and use them naturally. Don't worry if you make mistakes. Learning is a process. Let's review the answers together. "The car broke down on the way to work." "All songs in that film are catching on with youngsters." "I don't want to come back here ever again." "The thieves must have come in through the back door." Each answer demonstrates how the phrasal verb functions without a direct object. Understanding these examples will help you use intransitive phrasal verbs correctly in your own conversations and writing. Wrap up, let's summarize what we've learned. Phrasal verbs can be tricky, but knowing the difference between prepositional and particle verbs is the key. Remember, intransitive phrasal verbs don't need a direct object and are formed with particles. Transitive phrasal verbs do need a direct object, and you can use the pronoun test to check if they're separable or inseparable. Keep practicing with real-life examples, and soon you'll be using phrasal verbs like a native speaker. Thanks for watching and keep learning.